One of the prominent men who showed up in the Epstein files is Steve Bannon, which on one level is not a surprise. He was weirdly a friend of Epstein in his later years, despite all of the sex crimes and all that. Now, Steve Bannon is apparently going to go live and broadcast for 4 hours later today. And I'm going to predict two things. One, I'm not going to watch any of that. I don't understand why anyone would. But also, of the 4 hours, I bet very little of it is going to be seriously engaging with the weird relationship that he had with Jeffrey Epstein. And I wish this bothered his viewers more, because he did talk with him quite a bit. You can see this right here where he seems to imply to Jeffrey Epstein that Trump should be removed from office. It's back in 2018, New Year's Eve, apparently. So Epstein says, and no soldiers in the fort, he is really borderline. Not sure what he may do. Steve Bannon says, I think it's beyond borderline. 25th Amendment. So I love that, by the way, you can just say that and then to go back to like, yeah, no, but he's actually a great president now. He's totally cool. You should support him. I mean, I was calling for him to be taken out of office. And also, he's saying that to Jeffrey frickin' Epstein. This is 9 years after Jeffrey Epstein goes to prison for pedophilia and sex trafficking. And Steve Bannon's just like, yes, my bud. Yeah, we chat sometimes. We send texts. Fun. We talk about like topical news. We make jokes about Trump. It's great to have a friend. And remember, by the way, that Steve Bannon is trying to rehab Epstein's image. If it was up to Steve Bannon, Jeffrey Epstein would have had a second phase of his life where all of a sudden he's accepted back into polite society once again. And for some reason, the right, which has been hyper-focused on pedophilia and elite networks and they're getting away with something, when it's revealed what they were trying to get away with, they're like, yeah, Steve Bannon's my guy. I like his podcast. I listen to it. It's fun. That's where I get my news. I'll never understand that sort of thing. Now, we don't know exactly what began that conversation, what the scandal that sort of they were referencing was. We don't know for sure. It's around the same time that Trump had pulled U.S. troops out of Syria. Because remember, despite the promises we had made for years and years and years to support the Kurds, Trump was like, nah, screw them. They can all die. And many of them did. It was a wonderful moment for America. So anyway, it continues with this, which is even rougher and more personal. Trump will care more about this. Epstein says the two things he dreads at the moment is that an email from his ex saying he has small dick and his transcript. And Trump probably is very scared of that, of course, when it was revealed by Stormy Daniels. No, that's been out there for a while. Steve Bannon says, the staying away from family over holidays, huge tell. That was that Trump was not spending the holidays of 2018 with his family. Jeffrey Epstein says, that's for Madeline, to which Steve Bannon says, whoa. So they're referencing a woman named Madeline. We'll get into her. Then Jeffrey Epstein says, wake up, dude. And Steve Bannon quotes, I believe, Trump saying she has a way about her. So this is Madeleine Westerhout. So there's a 2019 email. There was allegations, basically, that this has been around for a little while. And they seem very clear that they think it's going on. That Trump had an affair with this aide, Madeleine Westerhout, stemming from a 2019 email from the author and Trump biographer Michael Wolff sent to Epstein, where he suggested that Trump was, I believe that's supposed to be banging Westerhout over the 2018 holiday during the government shutdown, opting to remain at the White House instead of spending time with his family at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida, which is super suspicious. That might have been the only weekend he didn't go to Mar-a-Lago. Was the holidays. He chooses not to, and he stays there with his young aide that he had said weird things about. And again, JR, we can't say for sure if that's true or not, but Epstein and Bannon are talking about it as if they totally buy it. What do you think?
The fact that Steve Bannon has to feel like he has to come on and have some 4-hour show where he's trying to, I don't know what, explain himself because, he's obviously intertwined well within this. But I was thinking, I said, this is the point when Steve Bannon was talking trash behind Donald Trump's back to someone else, right? So that was in 2018, right, John? New Year's 2018. Also, that's around the time I looked it up that Donald Trump was calling Steve Bannon sloppy Steve. Remember they had that little riff? That little fight that they had where he distanced himself from Steve Bannon and Steve Bannon said he hated him some Donald Trump. But at the same time, Donald Trump could be decent. Steve Bannon was trying to figure out whether or not he should completely detach from Donald Trump and lose any kind of favor with the party that he's trying to continue to, build his career off of and then piggyback back to Donald Trump. And once he discovered that he could, he came back on his knees. So that all happened around then. They probably had some other private conversations where Steve Bannon had some choice words for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump said, "Well, F you too." And then that's when all the sloppy Steves, and he was mad about the Fire and Fury book from Michael Wolff. This is all directly connected to all of the things that currently we're watching them continue to try and hide. This is the biggest thing that this guy is concerned about. Being the president of the United States is concerned about, because the people who have the information on him, he's upset with at different times. But there's always the little lapdog that crawls back and puts his head down so that Donald Trump can step on him again. Something that he has on all these folks. They get a little bit of courage. Their guts start to build up a little bit, and then they come back again. Something that everyone is involved with they don't want out there. And they're willing to protect Donald Trump from it. Like, I see these rifts and they all kind of coincide.
Yeah. By the way, so he's gonna do his 4-hour thing where he tries to like reassure his base or whatever. Like, and I know that they're not watching this show, but if they were, do you know that you could just stop listening to him? You could just do that. And do you know that it wouldn't hurt your life literally at all? I used to listen for about, oh, he's always live 4 hours a day? Jesus Christ, that's ridiculous. I mean, I love the sound of my voice, but I cap it at 90. It's a 4-hour show? Get a hobby, Jesus. But anyway, I used to listen we got an important thing to get to, so I'll be fast. For about maybe a year and a half, I listened to a WWE podcast. There's one guy who would talk about WWE, and I liked his show. And then he said some really weird stuff about trans people. And do you know what I did? I stopped listening and I found a different podcast. And now I listen to Gorilla Position, pretty good, Wrestle Talk. I listen to different shows because it's just an influencer. That's all Steve Bannon actually is. You're not going to die if you stop listening to the guy who was being chummy with Jeffrey Epstein. And I will never understand the commitment that some people have. If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.